Welcome to Inside the Upside Down. Mike Ricksecker here, author and ghost story. And with me is our lovely chat Shananigator from Edge of the Rabbit Hole, Shana Wankel. And we have a very interesting show for you this evening where we dive a little bit deeper. We had the Friday Night Ghost Frights episode on it on Friday. We did about 10 minutes of some ghost photos, some historic ones, a couple of hoaxes, some of ours. And now we're going to actually dive into this deeper. So we go deep down the rabbit hole inside the upside down and examine some of these. And Shana is going to throw in some of hers as well. So Shana, I think she just froze as we're sitting. Oh, there she is. Shauna's having a weak internet connection right now. We were just talking about her Tuesday night issues. So it was a sync earlier and now it's internet. So can you let us know you're here with us, that you can hear me?
I'm here. I can hear you, but you're cutting out a lot.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, we will try to work with it as we can. The last time that we had Shauna on the show, it was really bad. And about 3/4 of the way through the show, the connection just completely dropped. So what did we say last time? Fucking Frontier?
Yeah, it's always Frontier's fault.
It's Frontier's fault.
I blame stuff on Frontier that Frontier has nothing to do with. So, just because.
Just because. So, we want to thank all of you for hanging out with us for the second round of shows for Tuesday night. We had a great episode earlier with Amy Major, Chuck Banks filling in for Vanessa Hogel. A fantastic show. If you're just tuning in now after this, or maybe sometime tomorrow, because I already know it's late, go back and watch that one. It was a fantastic show. A lot of great information on rescue mediumship, spirituality, all kinds of just psychic stuff. We got into astral projection, and we got into how to ground and shield, which I know Shana talks a lot about ground and shield. So we got a little bit more detailed on that sort of stuff, which was really good. And there's Rebecca Gardner saying that they missed you last show, Shana. So.
Well, my luck on Tuesday nights seems to suck lately. So I just made this big feast and my sink's backed up. And I refuse to use Drano, even though I know it's faster, just because I have this fear of like this little residue or something staying in my dishwater and poisoning everybody. And that's probably a stupid fear to have, but it is. And so I use white vinegar and baking soda, and it still works. It just takes longer.
I think, knowing your luck lately on Tuesday nights, if you would have used Drano, it probably would have eaten through the piping too, and you'd had a mess all over the floor.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into it here. So we're going to start with one of those classics, one that got a lot of discussion back and forth, both on the video and on the Haunted Road Media Facebook page. And I think Sean already knows where I'm going with this one. So that is the Amityville Ghost Boy, and whether or not this is real. Now, I've heard a number of different things about this one. That could it be Paul Bartz, who was part of the crew that particular evening? I even had somebody throughout, and this was the first one I ever heard of this one, throughout John Zaffis as a child, because he's a nephew of Ed and Lorraine Warren. But by all accounts, nobody was up there at that time of day. Plus, with the, and I'll throw it up there real quick, with the Paul Bartz photo, the shirts are different. And you can kind of see there a little bit, the pattern doesn't quite work out. Now, I'm going to go, and I just didn't get a chance to bring it up, I guess. Because, going back and forth. There was an interesting comment on the video from, I think it was yesterday, and that got a little bit more detailed into it. So let me go ahead and get Paul Bartz off there. And so this was from Aperture Science. If any of you have ever played Portal, you know what Aperture Science is. He said, a news team did the lock-in with the Warrens, and no children were in the house at the time. They had police standing guard outside the house just in case something went wrong, or the killers returned to the house to kill again. It was the 1970s. Everything was a quote-unquote satanic killing, and the devil was under every bed, behind every tree, ready to jump out, drag kids off to their deaths. The killers never came back, of course, and everyone at the seance thought it was a complete bust, at least according to the news team members. One dressed as Dracula talks about it in an interview that's also posted on YouTube. So that's kind of the lowdown from one of our other viewers. And that's pretty much along the lines of what I've heard before about the situation with that photograph. That, yeah, there were no children in the house. Nobody was up there at the time. That the seance just really didn't amount to much of anything. You know, Conjuring 2, again, was a movie, and the beginning showed Lorraine there during the seance, all of a sudden kind of like wigging out, but that didn't happen. That's Hollywood for you. So it's an interesting photo. Shana, I don't know what you've ever thought of this particular photo. I can share my opinions, but do you want to chime in first?
I mean, isn't there just an awfully big chance that it's fake?
Well, I mean, the idea of this being an actual child like John Zavis, I don't think it's John Zavis. Paul Bartz, I mean, it is possible. I guess the thing here that has always kind of stuck with me on this particular photo is the fact that it was an infrared shot. So in infrared, your eyes do glow a little bit. So if that's a person over there, and they don't usually completely glow like this, but there is a bit of the eye that glows. Given that was 1976, and the technology then wasn't as clear or as good, yeah, I mean, this very well could be a human sitting there. So I guess it just kind of depends on what you believe. Do you believe the entire crew there that night saying that nobody was up there during that time? Because they were all supposed to be downstairs at the time doing the seance. So
I wasn't there.
I know.
And because I wasn't there, and I don't know them personally, I tend to blow a lot of stuff off unless I trust the person showing it to me.
Yeah. I
can't say, no, it's not true, because of some of the photos that we're about to see tonight where I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, some of the stuff that I've seen and I've heard about, I can't say I'm a skeptic, you know. So I can be skeptic of people, but I am not skeptic of the field itself.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's PSI file saying, isn't the reflection in the eyes a human trait? With infrared, yeah, you don't get a complete whole glow, but yeah, I guess it's the irises that glow. Like the whites don't. So when you see like some of the modern, I have to throw it out there, the television shows, or a number of videos out on YouTube where they're showing the infrared and the night vision, where you'll see the irises for humans glowing like that. In this particular picture, it's the entire eyeball, which makes you question a little bit. There's some people in the chat talking about being a solid apparition. Well, that one, again, there's people that have seen apparitions that have been translucent, others that have seen a solid person that they could have sworn was real, but you know, it turned out to be a spirit or a ghost. So I think it's going to be one of those mysteries that we'll just never really know the truth. And it comes down to, do you believe their story, or are you going to be, you know, skeptical about it? So I don't know. Jury's still out for me. Tom McNicholas is saying they said it could be the spirit of the boy. Yeah, the youngest to fail child is what a lot of people say it is. And he does have that look too. I mean, personally, I'll go back to it one more time. Personally, this boy here seems a little bit older than the painting. And I didn't bring in the painting. He looks a little bit older than the painting that was hung in the house. Of course, children age. So, again, I think I think the jury's out. But I wanted to start off with that because it was a hot topic on the Facebook video. Well, on the Facebook page, the Haunted Road Media Facebook page when we posted that, and then also here on YouTube in the comments section on the actual video. So I don't know. We'll let you guys decide down there in the chat room, our Mad Hatters. It's always one for great debate. So, all right. So now let's get into... I threw in the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, but I think we'll just jump into ours. So where do you want to start? You want to start with... do you want to start with Gropes? I mean, everybody, I think, has already seen a lot of the other ones. You want to start with Gropes?
Sure.
All right. So this is the one...
Gropes.
Whoops, and I clicked the wrong thing. I'm trying to click off the Amityville Ghost Boy. Turn that one off. Okay. So this is Shana's Gropes of Wrath picture. This is from the My Ghost Story episode, Gropes of Wrath. So go ahead, Shana. This is your story.
Yeah. That door that's to my left there's a hallway. It goes from the dining area where we're at in the cafe, and it goes back into the kitchen area and the back of the building and stuff like that. And we always called it Action Alley because if you sat anywhere near that doorway, you were going to get some action. So, and there's also a wooden ramp, so it always creaked if anybody walked on it. Like, always. There was no way you couldn't hear anybody coming. And we had been hearing something moving around back there. And me personally, I felt a lot of energy. It was just coming at me in waves, and my eyes are closed. Were closed the biggest part of the time because there was just a lot there, a lot going on. Then I started feeling like somebody was touching me from behind, and in fact, if you listen to the audio that corresponds with this picture, there's a man's voice telling me, go right to sleep. So,
A couple of super chats real quick here. Wow. Andrew, $10 super chat says, Mike, creepy face, upper corner, and pick in doorway. I think he was talking about the previous picture, the Amityville one. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Andrew. And yeah, we'll take a look at that again here a little bit later or offline. So, and then Tom McNicholas, $10 super chat says, yay for Shana's stories. Yeah, because you guys always hear all of mine, so now it's time to dive into some of Shana's. So thank you guys, super chat, superstars. Really, really do appreciate it. So, yeah, so in this particular photo, okay, you heard a guy behind you, and then you see all of this, and it kind of looks like there might be something behind you, although it could also be maybe some glare off the wall. But it's certainly over you, over your face, and then, well, it looks like a hand on your chest there.
Yeah, that's why the episode got called what it was called, actually, because, I mean, there is something on my chest, and if you blow up, the picture, you can see, like, the individual fingers on the hand. It's on my face, on the side of my face.
I can extend this. I don't know. Whoops, I just extended a different picture. Because I have a bunch of these on top of each other. So it's probably about as best as I can do there. So yeah, you can kind of see fingers in there. I can see thumb, what have you. So how are you guys seeing that down there?
The Nestle is your brother's.
So say Lee Earl is saying, I see face, hair, neck, black top. Yeah, Zippy, darn ghost was getting frisky with Shana. Yeah, and that ghost there, that spirit there, whatever you want to call him, was kind of frisky. This is for all of you that are in the know on this is the same location as the ectogasm, although the ectogasm did not happen to Shana.
No, but I asked for it.
She asked for it.
I mean, I've got to be honest. The woman that it happened to, was a, former team member of mine and a good friend. And she would not have been so receptive to it, not that I would go around asking for it all the time, but I wanted to see it happen again,
Yeah, kind of one of those things you almost want to verify. Okay, did that really just happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, now we have the audio. I'll have to ask and see if we still have it, because you can hear
You said you could hear it happening.
You can hear the preview to coming attractions.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just say that.
Okay.
I mean, there's no mistaking it. Nobody would dispute it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is... When was this taken? This was like, what, about 8-10 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, this would have been back in 2000 and... Gosh. At least 10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So in the episode, just to let everybody know, it was My Ghost Story. You remember the episode number and all that? It was titled Gropes of Wrath.
Yeah, I don't remember the episode number. It was labeled incorrectly.
Okay.
And then you just had to know the episode name. The number was labeled incorrectly for some reason.
The number was labeled incorrectly, but the title is Gropes of Wrath.
Yep.
So, all right. So, move on to another one of yours. And this is the Ghost Boy pick. I don't know how well you're seeing these on your end, Shana. But this is the boy in the back of the cafe. This, if you guys can see, maybe I should have blown this up a little bit more. In the back there, the short shadow, I just didn't have enough time to put it all together. But you can kind of see him back there. And you've shown me this pic before, Shana, and I remember trying to break down the way the light was cascading and the objects that are in front, and I just couldn't figure out anything in the foreground that would cast a shadow back there that looked like that.
Yeah, and the reason that we even took the picture was because we were hearing movement back there and saw a shadow moving around back there when nobody else was moving.
Dawn says it reminds her of Peter Pan's shadow. Oh, and I do need to address something real quick here that Mark an issue. It's a YouTube issue. So Donna, he doesn't need to unsub and resub for that. So it's a current known issue with YouTube with notifications, that they are having some issues with notifications. So like Mark Fiore got a notification for this late, he says like 17 minutes late. Some people haven't been getting them at all, and some people get them just fine. So it's a current known issue with YouTube, and they are looking into it. So just let it be for right now. So, and Tom, another $10 super chat for Shauna's ectoplasm. Wow. Okay. I could say something, but I'm not going to. I'll tell you offline, Shauna. All right. So, so they are saying that they see the boy back there. And any more that you want to dive in on this one?
Actually, in that picture, if you look up above him and to the right, like on the white part, there were people saying that they saw a face. You know, it could be Matrix, it could be pareidolia, it could be...
yeah, I see what you're saying. I would call that pareidolia right there.
Yeah. There was, there, and then like just a little, in the darker part, someone was seeing something that looked like some weird looking lady with like pointy teeth and like a turban or a fortune teller hat or something. Got pretty specific, and I didn't really, I could see it once they pointed it out.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice it before that.
And thank you, Jen, for a $10 super chat. I really do appreciate that. And thank you down there in Periscope for all of the hearts. Let me scroll back up. Did Jen have a message with that? She says, happy spring. Yes. Jen was very, very happy in the last show about it being spring. So I wish.
Where is the spring?
Yeah, where is the spring? We would really appreciate the warm weather. I'm supposed to wake up to snow tomorrow. I know the East Coast is getting hammered with a nor'easter. So where's the good weather? It's been 6 months of cold.
I mean, we have 50s and 60s here closer to the end of next week.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to rain, like at night and then in the morning, at night in the morning. So it's just nothing but rain.
Yeah, we're going to have 40s and rain. You're going to have 50s and rain. So once it does warm up a little bit, it's just going to be lousy weather anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and Dawn is saying that it's snowing hard there. So, yeah. So, all right. So let's move on to the next one, because Shana actually has quite a few here. So there was this one. So this is the first time I've actually seen this one from you. That
one was on my ghost story.
This is the shadow. Okay, and maybe I did see it there. I've only seen that episode like once or twice when I first met you. So this is, you can see the shadow person standing back there. You want to talk about this one a little bit? It's kind of hiding back there.
Yeah, that's Jeannie, actually. This is another picture of the cafe. She was by herself in there, which was a big no. But she was in there, and she did a lot of the work on her own to try to do, some of the remodeling and stuff. And she heard somebody, and like us, always carries a recorder, always carries a camera. So, and snapped a picture, and that's what she got.
That's interesting. I mean, it's another one of those. To me, this one's a little bit tougher. The previous one was a little easier for me because just trying to figure out what's in the foreground and how the light was cascading back there. And Candy Orton was like even saying, "I believe this is a genuine pic." But this one to me is a little bit tougher because the source of light, it looks like it's coming from the side. And so from there, I can't see what may be in front of the light to be able to possibly cascade that shadow. So
if I'm trying to remember without getting like really, I can't remember if that's a door or not. Because if that's a door back there, there's it's an empty room there off to the side.
Yeah, Candy, I know the one you were talking about was the child picture.
And then there's nothing in the room. There's some stuff down low, but then there's a window, but it's up quite a bit higher. It's not like if someone were walking by that they would be seen. It's a smaller window, and it's up higher.
Okay.
And like I said, Jeannie was alone that day. And whoever it was that was in there eventually, was active enough, to make her, who had been doing it for, 20 some odd years actively, she couldn't be in there anymore, couldn't hang. So
Tom's asking me to zoom in. I'll see what I can do here. I would have had to have done it all beforehand. It's a little bit tougher to do it on the fly here, so I'll see what I can do. And I'm accidentally sizing other pics that are behind this. So that's probably about as best as I can do. I mean, I can see the shape of it there. It would have to, if it is something, it would have to be translucent. Like I said, for me, because I can't see what's in front of the source of light to eliminate, objects that may be casting a shadow. To me, this would be undefinitive. Where the one with the boy, or the child. The previous one was a lot more definitive. Like that one to me is I'm looking at it because I know the source of the light is coming from the front, and I can't make anything out to make that shape that's coming from the front. Where this particular one, I don't know. So I would be undecided on this one. So that's my personal opinion. Yeah, and that I think that's what it comes down to with a lot of these is it eventually comes down to personal opinion, and everybody's going to have a different one. So I think it's some of these you either believe or you don't. So let's see what else Shauna has in her treasure trove of pictures. So, let's do the creeper one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this one's kind of interesting. So, you guys see him down there?
Yeah, it's same lady that owns the cafe. She was taking a shower and her window had gotten fogged up. And she was home alone. And when she got out, it looked like there was something written on the mirror. And so the flash, what you see is her actually taking a picture, trying to take a picture of what was written. She wasn't trying to take a picture of that creepy little troll looking thing down there. She didn't even see that.
Yeah, it was the writing that was on the mirror. And Mark Fiore with a £5 super chat. So thank you, Mark. Appreciate that.
And actually, there was a backstory for this. This picture happened after Jeannie had done some digging in the cellar. And she had dug a hole. She found some older artifacts. But then also this black, dark, and it was already dark down in the cellar. All they had were flashlights. But something dark, like a ball, flew up out of a hole. And then it sounded like the building was hooked up to an amp and like took a breath. It was kind of creepy. It was very creepy. I was not there for that, but I heard all about it. And then she started having activity in her house, a lot of activity, and her niece said that she had seen what she described as the baby man.
Yeah. I do want to thank down there in Periscope real quick. Thank you for sharing that out to your followers. The name flew by too quick for me to check to see who it was, but thank you for that, and thank you for the hearts down there too. So this is, and you can see in this pic, you can actually see, eyebrows in this. You can actually see like a little hand that's kind of holding. I mean, is that the sink?
Yeah.
And this is the reflection in a mirror, which I am usually pretty skeptical over the ones in the mirror, but you can see some distinct features here that are a little bit different than other reflection photos. And now, what was it that was supposed to be written on the mirror here that she was actually taking a picture of?
She couldn't tell. It wasn't.
That was Feel Good Visions. Thank you, Feel Good Visions.
Yeah, she couldn't tell what it was, and she said some of it didn't even look like regular alphabet. But unfortunately, it was disappearing so fast, that she was. At first I thought she was talking about, this big ball of light. I was like, well, that's your flash, Right. She's like, no, it's not that. And then, it wasn't until she goes, this is what I was trying to take a picture of, but what in the hell is that down in the corner, And Jeannie has always been, I would definitely trust, her. She would even, show it. If someone sends you a picture, she goes, tell them to send you the original. And you can look in the code and you can see when something's been copied and pasted to make an image, to doctor a photo. And this is what that looks like, And so she would show me. She goes, Sean, I don't know what this is. She goes, but I will, you can have the original. She goes, and you can pull up the code. You can see. she goes, I don't know what this thing is, but I do not want it in my house anymore. And then after that,
Dawn is saying it looks like Danny DeVito.
I mean, it's creepy as shit, you know? I'm
It is a
not going to
creepy little
lie.
guy. Yeah.
She started, I mean, her niece was just terrorized by it, and the activity started getting a lot more negative. She ended up stopping going into the cafe. And I mean, she just was having all kinds of trouble.
Yeah. And that was at her home. That wasn't at the cafe. But she could have been bringing things back and forth from the cafe to her home and
we all did that.
Yeah. Yeah, just from all the stories from there, it sounded like there were crazy things going on there, a lot of attachments. Feel good at saying it looks like a puppet, kind of. Yeah, it's very, and it would be a creepy type of puppet, for sure. So, yeah, that's, okay, so, following that, now you have some interesting pics out of the cemetery, and so we'll get into some of your cemetery pics here, because these kind of relate to, and this is, I mean, what do you want to call this? I mean, it's it looks like it looks like an illuminated ball of light, at least in this picture.
I mean, here's the thing, you know, I immediately blow everything off as bugs, you know,
which it could be.
And it might be, you know, and then, you know, some of the stuff, you know, I look at and scale to other things like the size. And, you know, there'd be some big, you know what I mean? Maybe it was a bat, you know?
Well, let's see if we can blow it up a little bit more here. I mean, it looks like some sort of, it looks like there's two parts. It looks like there's two balls, could be connected. It could be the reflection of a bug.
I mean, you know, I basically just saved the pictures because it looked cool.
Right.
You know, I wasn't trying to peddle it as, oh, I caught a ghost, you know? I mean, it just looked cool.
Yeah, and when you've shown me this before, you've always stated that you've never claimed it to be necessarily anything.
Right.
But it's worth taking a look at. And so Feel Good down in Periscope was asking if it was the moon. Lizard Queen is saying it's a little too low. So
yeah, no, there was no. Yeah. Usually, whenever we were out investigating, it would have been great to have moonlight. I mean, it seems like every time we were out there, you know, the moon has never been that close. I'll just say that. By the time we get out there, it's high enough up in the sky that, you know, and as you can see.
Yeah, here's another. I guess it's from that same night. And Donna Gorton is saying definitely not a bat. Lizard Queen is saying Will o' the Wisp.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's cemetery pictures, and then there's one at the house in the middle of the field.
Yeah, the one at the house. I'll get to the last cemetery pic here, which is this one. And this is kind of one, if you're going to say it's a bug, you can say
it looks like a bug.
Yeah. It's about as good as I'm going to get it. I've made the screen entirely black except for this little thing. It very well could be. I know there's going to be some people that say fairies, and I know you and I have been kind of looking for those just because of our experience in the goldenrod about a year and a half ago. Tom McNicholas is asking, do you use night vision or full spectrum?
I don't use anything.
This is just your camera.
Yeah, this is just a camera phone.
Yeah, BD Flint with a $2 super chat up here in YouTube. Thank you, BD Flint. BD Flint is one of our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. Really do appreciate that. And then we'll get to the Stonehouse one. This one to me does look like a bug.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, I blow everything off.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it looks huge.
I understand that. It looks, it's huge. It's got like a lot of weird stuff going on with it, but it looks to me like one of those big, huge, crazy mosquitoes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So, although I
mean, that's initially, you know, that's initially what we blew it off as, you know, and like I said, I just kept it because it looked cool with
picture. Definitely looks cool. No, Lizard Queen, it's definitely not photoshopped. This came straight off of her
I
camera.
gotta be honest, I don't even know the first thing about that.
That's true.
I have no
I would
idea.
be the Photoshop person. But,
I can use like my Beautify app to change the color of my eyes, or amp up my lipstick or something like that. I know how to use those. I have never used Photoshop ever.
yeah.
Nor would I.
So Danielle Heil is saying they're called mosquito hawks. So the big freaking mosquitoes, I guess.
I have always said that, and I gotta be honest, some of the mosquitoes in Campseville, I mean, they'll pick you up and carry you off. I mean, they're freaking huge.
They can get pretty big. So, all right. So, yeah, I mean, they're interesting photos. One way or the other. They're still. I mean, they're cool looking. So let's get into what else did we have here from you. Trying to see here. So, oh, you know what? I didn't have the goldenrod ones here. Darn it.
Oh.
Well, let's get into the Campseville shadow person. So now this was kind of interesting. Anybody that has seen our Campseville videos they're familiar with this one. So those down in Periscope, I know you're not going to be familiar with this one. So a little something new for you. So what was going on here was this particular, it's a school. We were in the gym, and we kept hearing, I mean, we've always heard stuff by that door back there, and you can kind of see in this photograph the door that's back there. I've lightened it up because it was originally a darkened photograph, but in the video, and actually it's not a photograph, it's a video. It's a video still. In the video, you could actually see this thing walking, and always by that door. We'd be across the gym in the bleachers, and we kept hearing things from over there. And whether it was by the door, down the stairs, whatever. We'll get down the stairs here in a little bit. We were remarking about what we were hearing over there, and then we captured this on video. And then, what was it? The next time we were back there, we did a comparison with you, Shana, as far as where that would have been standing in the gym, where we took the video from, and did a height comparison, and basically deduced that this would have been about the height of a child.
Right.
So now this is actually, give a little backstory. This is actually the school that you attended when you were a child.
Yeah, from first grade till the 8th grade, I graduated. I didn't graduate in that particular school because we used the high school for that, but yeah, I graduated the 8th grade from there.
Right. So, and I see Sherry Willimon has joined us from from Periscope into the YouTube chat. All right. And she is asking, a shadow person? Yeah, that's what this looks like to me. And I have seen a number of shadow people in my time. And this photograph, to me, appears to be a shadow person. So, but a small one. Now, we were getting other times that we were there, like a playful child. I mean, and there was, I'm trying to remember, Shauna. It was like it was being playful. There were times where it was at different points in the gym, and then there was another time where you kind of took off across the gym because you were feeling some sort of emotion. Do you remember?
Yeah. One of the times when it was close, like it was giving off a lot of energy. I mean, if it was a kid, I don't usually feel like really super strong vibes from kids. I mean, I feel them, but I don't feel like I have to get away from them. So it might be the size of a child, but I think it's been around a while.
Yeah.
there were times whenever we were in there that it felt like it was whatever was in there, and possibly more than one, was trying to separate us. Because I would be, okay, and then, you would hear something or something would happen, and then you would walk over to check it out, and then whatever was in there would, you know, be like right there in my business. So, and it was just a lot more, active. I mean, it was just always active, but it seemed like whenever we were separated, there was more.
Yeah. Yeah, there was, and it always seemed to be like trying to separate us. So, Pretty Maddie down in Periscope asked, a child that was sick and died but loved their school. You know, that's come up because we've done some schools as to why a school would be haunted. So if this is a child, and when we were at Liberty, we definitely had kids playing with us because we got we got some of that as far as like an EVP. They may remember it as a place where they had some fun. Like, a school, even though, okay, maybe we don't like the actual classes themselves, but it was a place where we would congregate with our friends. And so they may remember it as a place to play, especially in the gym. That would be a place where, I mean, Shauna, I guess you would remember what the gym classes were like there. Usually, especially at a younger age, you're basically playing games, So
yeah, we did a lot of cool, there was a lot of cool stuff going on. But my thing with the energy that's there, I don't feel like it's attached to that school at all. I feel like it's attached to whatever was there before.
Yeah.
We cannot.
Yeah, the land itself, and we noted this in the Campseville reveal video, that for one, it used to be an archaeological dig. So they were digging for Native American artifacts there. And you can see the tiers. If you look at the back of the school, the property, you can see the tiers from when they were doing their excavations, and they basically built the school right into there. But Shauna, there's other stuff that's happened there that we observed that really there's got to be more to the story here, because there was stuff happening on a second floor, and there's no second floor to this building.
So at some point, we've deduced either to two things. Either at some point before it was documented, there was a building with a second floor, or the high school that was adjacent to it did have a second floor, but we weren't hearing it over there. We were hearing it in the building that didn't have the second floor, but it sounded like somebody walking on a floor.
Right.
It could not have been that crawl space where a child could barely stand up in there.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Really,
it was just attic space, blown insulation and rafters. There was nothing going on up there except a snake. Which slithering isn't going to be footsteps. So it was interesting. Did that energy transfer from the old high school that was nearby, or like you said, was there some other documentation that, or some other building that it just wasn't documented? So we did get, as far as photographic evidence, we did get something else there. Now, this was a interesting video idea that you suggested we do. And I don't know if you guys can see it in this particular picture, and I'll show an enhanced version here in a minute. But basically the story is okay, through the door, behind that shadow person, there's a boys' locker room, and then there's a set of steps going down into the basement. And so we kept hearing things coming from the basement. So we walked in there, and we'd go all the way back, and we didn't ever experience anything in the basement. And this happened a number of times. So as we're coming out of the basement the one time, I mentioned to Shauna, well, maybe it's not in the basement. Maybe it's the stairwell, because that's really where we keep hearing a lot of the activity coming up from, is from the stairwell. So Shauna suggested, well, why don't we set up a camera at the top of the stairs looking down? We'll go investigate elsewhere in the building and, see what happens. So we set it up for what, like maybe 15 minutes?
Yeah.
And you can see at the bottom of the stairs this woman that is standing there staring up the stairs. And here's the enhanced version of it. So she's wearing a period dress from maybe late 1800s, early 1900s. Her arms are crossed. You can see eyes, nose, mouth, hair, all of that standing there at the bottom of the stairs. So go ahead, chime in with your opinions on it. Now, the odd thing about this is that she didn't move. She stood there the whole time staring up. So Danielle's saying fantastic picture. So, and thank you. They're saying great catch. So because of that, I just want to throw this out there real quick. Because of that it didn't move, it got us questioning, well, maybe it could be matrixing. Okay, so we went back and actually don't have a photo of this because it's a video clip. And what we were doing, we set up the camera, we're looking at if there's some sort of matrixing with the wall and everything back there, and there wasn't. We could not recreate this photo. So I'll go back and forth from, that's the original, but you can see the enhanced version a little bit better. And while we were trying to get that set up again to see if we could recreate it and determine whether or not it was matrixing, there was a pebble that was thrown out from that hallway down there into the bottom of the stairwell. So, and what is this? Somebody's asking, I missed who said it down there in Periscope, but somebody asked, what about the little boy in back of her? Do you see a little boy back there? Chipper Terry saying you can see a bonnet or a Gibson girl hairdo.
Now,
Kimberly Brown in YouTube is saying that she sees that one, but it looks like there's a face in the doorway.
Are they seeing it in the actual photo, or are they seeing it like sometimes some of us see stuff? You know what I mean? Like, are you feeling it, seeing it, or are you actually seeing it in the picture? Because I don't really.
Yeah, I guess the question is, is that are you seeing it with? Are you physically seeing it, or are you seeing it with your third eye? And then BD Flint is saying, oh, you're also in Periscope. Holy cow, there's a little boy as well. Okay, so so if I take away the enhancement, do you guys still see it? I think I see what they're saying. They're saying to her right in the doorway, and sorry if my mouth is a little close to the microphone. I think they see what they're saying. So Chipper Terry is saying seeing it, not feeling it. And Kathy Ciliento, yes, you can physically see it. I believe I see what they're saying. And Pretty Maddie and BD Flint down Periscope are both saying yes and yep. So I'm going to see if I can zoom a little bit here. I mean, I have it. And that's as good as I'm going to get. I think I see what they're saying. Then I'll enhance. Get the enhanced version here too. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. It's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I never noticed a little boy. Sherry Williman is saying, I do, it's a small boy. And Cosmic Karma down in Periscope is saying, I'm seeing and sensing both. So good catch, guys. Because, yeah, I only ever noticed the woman. It was, because that was just like blatantly obvious when we first went over that footage. It was like, oh, there's a woman standing here. So for you guys to also see a little boy down there, great eyes. And see, this is one of the reasons why we do this, is that you guys are another set of eyes and ears for us. The whole thing with the pebble, and if you watch our Friday Night Ghost Frights from Friday, that has the video clip from when we were setting it up to see if it was just matrixing, and that's when the pebble was thrown out. We actually didn't initially see the pebble thrown out when we aired the Campseville reveal video, and we had that clip in there. Somebody else, one of our viewers, had noted, hey, there was a pebble that was thrown out from there. So now we included it on the Friday Night Ghost Frights this past Friday. So Jin K is saying the boy is very, very fainted. Yeah, it was faint, but I see what you're saying back there. So, and Surfer Rosa, maybe a little bit of the devil's advocate there. I appreciate it. Always hard to say, though, with our minds being pre-programmed to see faces. Understandable. And that's where a lot of pareidolia comes into play, like we saw with one of Shauna's pictures, where the boy was very distinct, but the other face was like, eh. So, and Jen is taking off. Have a good night, Jen. So,
bye, Jen.
Super chat, superstar. Appreciate it. All right. So, well, thank you for all your input on that one, guys. That was very, very cool. Yeah, that's been a favorite ever since then, and we can't get back in there, which is unfortunate. So, let's we have a few minutes left here, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about orb photography real quick, and this is one that got moved a little bit when I was trying to move a different one. So, orbs. Yeah, to me, most orbs are dust. And thanks for all the hearts down there in Periscope. Appreciate it. So, most orbs to me are dust and moisture. And a lot of people say, well, I see a face within that orb. And it's like, yeah, that's pareidolia again. But one like this... yes, Lady Death. I know it says vagina back there. It's, what are you going to do when you have, teenagers that are, putting up graffiti everywhere. Yeah, illuminated ball of light. So basically, the moment I stepped into this location, that is what I captured. Never was able to capture it again there. I took a couple photographs just after. It was gone. So it's like, okay, did I scare it away? But to me, this is something. It has its own luminescence. It has its own light source. So this, to me, would be an actual orb photograph. All those other ones, and I don't have examples here of bad ones because I was throwing it together before just before the show. And Lady Death, Phantasm Ball, yeah, something like that. Plasma ball, phantasm ball, whatever term you want to call it, but definitely has its own luminescence. Danielle Heil, even if you can see all facial features, ears, hairline, eyebrows, yeah, within those dust particles, I still believe it's pareidolia. I've seen so many of those. What is this? And I missed that one. I miss a lot of the Periscope ones. They fly by so quick and I can't get back to them. What was that? Oh, Pretty Maddie is saying it's like an angel. And being in a sanctuary here, a church, maybe. But what's interesting about this church, this particular church here was also featured on My Ghost Story, and that was my particular episode of My Ghost Story. So Shana got to talk about hers. So mine is, this is the church that also has the crawler. And you can, maybe it's not in this picture. But to the right, there's a set of stairs going down into the basement, and that is where the crawler was all over that basement around us the one night. So this church actually has dark energy to it. The cemetery across the street, well, it's a dirt road, actually has light energy. So it's kind of an interesting location because you have these two places that you would expect more light energy to be at the church and more darker energy to be at the cemetery, and it's the opposite, where the dark energy is at the church and the light energy is at the cemetery. People have also reported this church seeing short shadow people come up to the windows but not inside. Some speculate that the crawler controls them, but there's no way to know that. There was some evidence in the back. There's a stone slab area where there were evidence of scorch marks and burnt animal bones and things like that. So there was some evidence of a possible occult work back there. Of course, no way to know for certain, but it seemed to us that somebody may have been trying to attempt to conjure something up. I do have to throw out there, I have to do this almost every time, that I do not mean to say that the parishioners who once went to the church, dabbled in the occult, and did those sorts of things back there. One of my old videos, the Ghosts and Legends episode on Black Bear Church, because I talked about these things, it really pissed off the owners. So I try to clarify that every time. But to me, this is a really good orb photograph of a legit orb. So, and I missed that one down there in Periscope again. Damn it. I can never figure out how to go back to messages I've missed down in there. Kathy Silienta says, what kind of priests or brothers were there, if you have any information? I do, actually. It was the New Bethany Baptist Church. I don't have a ton of information on it. Constructed early 1900s. Don't have an exact date. It was somewhere between 1968 and 1972. It disappeared. They raised some money selling scrap metal for World War II. And that's about all I know. So it was a Baptist church called New Bethany. And basically it was a rural church out in a bunch of farming country. And then I guess basically the deal is that, as people, got more into motorized vehicles and were able to go into the bigger towns, they used the churches there rather than this one out in the middle of nowhere. So, okay, so Cosmic Karma is saying strong male presence. Oh, yeah. I would definitely say there that crawler, if it has a sex, or has a gender, it's definitely male. Absolutely. So, the other one I will throw out there from my collection that you guys have also seen before, or those who have been following Haunted Road Media for a while, and that is the Stone Line in Wisp. So Kathy Siliento saying, get a very bad negative vibe from that area, like devil worship or something to that effect. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, is that there's that type of stuff going on back there after the parishioners abandoned the location. So Ouija board and witchcraft done. Okay, I'm going to go back to that since you guys are talking about it. So at this location, Ouija board and witchcraft done. Again, the stone slab in the back did show signs of that sort of stuff. I do recall seeing a video from way back in the day, like years before I first investigated there, of somebody out there with a Ouija board. So back when this place still had a roof. So I know it's out there and it's been done there. So, all right. So Stone Line Inn. So this is the famous Stone Line Inn story. You can see over there by Johnny. Johnny's the guy in the black shirt. That white wisp between him and the bureau. So the deal with this is, when we first started investigating that night, now I had already experienced just doing an EMF, just getting a baseline reading around the house, just doing a sweep. I was already just overwhelmed in the library with a massive wave of energy that almost knocked me out. Like the K2 spiked to red, and then just boom, I felt this wave of energy that almost knocked me out. And it was kind of like a preview of what was to come. So as we started the investigation, this is actually in the entrance hall of the Stone Line Inn. And as you're walking by it, there's one of the little hallways goes to what they call the parlor suite. This bureau blocks off a set of doors that goes into what had been the parlor, and that she just doesn't want you walking through those doors anymore. But we had noticed one of the bureau drawers was partially opened, and when we were back in the parlor suite, we were only back for like 2 minutes, and we heard a slam come from the entrance hall. So we went out there and we noticed that the bureau drawer had been slammed shut. So Johnny's busting out the tri-field meter, I'm snapping photographs, and I captured this white wisp hanging in the air. And Lady Death is saying the lion has a blur over his right eye as well. I've noticed that before. I've never really chalked that up to anything, because there's a mirror back there behind the lion. So I've always thought it was the way that the light was reflecting off the mirror and cascading onto the line, that it created a blur effect there. So I've never considered that to be anything. To me, it's always been the white wisp. So of course we didn't notice this right away on my camera. I didn't notice it until after the fact. So a few minutes later, we decided that we were going to split up because the parlor suite was just too small for all of us. So I was leading a team up the stairs, and as I got to the landing up there, another person had just started up the stairs, and all of a sudden a framed photograph that was on the wall just crashed to the stairs. So it was a very, very active evening, especially within this span here of a couple minutes. The drawer closing, the white wisp, and then the photograph crashing to the stairs. So Zippy Davis is saying, so curious what people think. Say a house is haunted then demolished. Do you think the ghost leaves or stays to haunt the land or the house that it was on? Well, Shauna, what do you think?
I think it all depends on the situation of who's left behind. I mean, I want to think that if you're attached to a venue, just the venue, that when it's gone, you go to whatever your next, wherever your journey takes you, whether you have as a spirit, where you have the free will to go where you want, or whether it's decided for you by the powers that be, the same ones that don't let the other side talk to us that much when we ask for it, you know. But then I think sometimes, like with the grade school, you know, I don't think, obviously the walking that's happening is not happening in that building. I think, and it very well could be residual. I mean,
yeah, I think we always chalked it up as to residual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but there was a building there before, you know, to my knowledge, at least while I was going there, and I don't remember seeing any article about anybody, any children that had died, you know. I feel like whatever is there is attached to the land, and to whatever was there before, and not to that building. So, yeah. But like with the boat, you know, I mean, it's gone, you know, and it's not coming back, but where did everybody go? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent question. Everybody has varying opinions. We have Kathy Siliento saying, I think that if the spirit energy is attached to the property, it really doesn't matter what is on the property, the energy stays. And I think we've seen, you know, definitely some cases of that where, you know, the building's completely different now, and there's still, you know, something going on from a previous incarnation of whatever it had been, so that energy stays. But I think, you know, probably some stuff moves on or goes elsewhere. Or, you know, we've been asked this about the goldenrod, and we haven't been out there to check because there's still all kinds of things going on with it. And we've speculated, you know, maybe something is still hanging around there. I mean, right now the hole's still there. You know, maybe they would find some family. You know, maybe they would just go elsewhere, maybe down the street, or maybe back to St. Louis, because the goldenrod was there for many, many years. It's hard to know, you know, until we, you know, we have to really investigate that one out when we are finally afforded an opportunity to do so. So Kathy is saying good answer to you. Yeah, and Zippy, I think you're right on that. That there's probably not a wrong answer to that. There's probably options, probably many options. And when it comes to residual energy, it's just a playback. So it's not really a haunting. It's just a recording of energy being played back. So yeah, and like Kathy's saying, maybe they don't even know the place they are roaming. They may not. They may not. Okay, Max Doran says or asks, why aren't there any non-human being ghosts? There are. Like, Shana, we just released that video on the Opera House, the
Oh
investigation
my
that we did at
God.
the Opera House, and you had that what seemed like a cat.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking about the evil, creepy
Well,
laugh
there
or
was the
whatever.
evil, creepy laugh. There's definitely a creeper in there. I mean,
I mean,
you're.
I,
It was funny because you're like warding off or threatening. You know, if there's a human in here, because we were hearing stuff. If there's a human in here, you know, you're gonna be in some deep shit. And you hear this evil cackle.
I mean, it
Oh
was
my
like
god!
it was creepy movie worthy, like a legit creepy laugh. Like I was so shocked whenever I heard that. I was like, "What the hell is that?" You know, and we didn't feel anything bad in there at all. Like if I would have heard that
No,
out loud, my ass would have been out the door so fast, the building would have spun. I mean, I would have left a trail of whatever is behind me. I
leave me
mean,
alone to deal with it. Okay.
well, you're not scared of anything.
I would have stayed, honestly.
I would have stepped outside. You'd have been on your own. If I had
That's what I'm
heard that
saying. You would have left
out
me alone.
loud. Yeah, well, the only thing that I was afraid of in the building or that I was uncomfortable by were all of the spiders in the speakeasy.
The spiders were. I mean, the spider webs down there were just. It, like I kind of alluded to it in the video, and I said on one of the Facebook Live things that we did, talking about that investigation, was that I always kind of laughed at Hollywood about these places where they put up all these tons and tons of spider webs. I'm like, come on, I've never. This place had that. Is it the only thing Hollywood forgot was the carcasses of the spiders?
I
So
mean, ugh, it was haunted house worthy. Like there are haunted
yeah,
houses that, put that stuff in there. I mean, this was,
this was
I
real,
was not
legit.
comfortable walking in that basement.
So Donna asks, back in what we were talking about before with spirits staying or not in a particular location. Donna asks, or in stacked time theory, wouldn't the place still be there for them? Well, in that case, essentially what would be happening is their spirit. I mean, it would basically be in that time. So basic in a stacked time theory. So all time being vertical rather than a river of time. Everything's happening concurrently. So they're there. They're already there in their time, whatever time that happens to be, whether it's them going about their business in 1912 or them going about their business in 1964 or whenever. So in that case, there's not necessarily a choice as to where they go because they're still living there at that time, except for when they do pass on, right? Then their spirit is doing something else within that time, whether they decide to stay there or somewhere else. So, if you can wrap your head around that one, I know I keep throwing that one out there occasionally. Stacked time. That's a good term to call it. Stacked time theory. What did I miss? Something that Zippy said. Okay, Zippy says, "Oh, by the way, Mike and Shauna, 5 point up subs now. So congrats. Oh, I guess he's saying we're at over 5,600. I didn't see a 6 in there, but I guess, oh, because that's shift 6. Yes. So over 5,600 subscribers now. Thank you, Zippy. Yeah.
Mm.
There he's confused himself. Kathy's saying, don't confuse me, Mike. I know. All right. Well, you know what? We are over our hour. We're over our hour. I think we hit the hour mark at the last photo from the Stone Line Inn. So.
Oh, you didn't show the Campsville lock photos, though.
Oh, shoot. We should have. I was supposed to show those when we did the cemetery ones. So let me see if I can find that real quick. We'll go back into photos here and see if I can. We'll add it. I could have done that, I guess, with the goldenrod ones too, but we'll do this one. It's getting late. So, properties. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, because I didn't have it here, so I'm gonna have to dig up wherever I have them hiding at. Let's see. I think I might have them here. So, Shauna, you want to talk a little bit about, while I'm trying to find this, about what the Campseville lock photos are?
It was basically like a jungle. But there used to be a lock system down by the river in Campsville, and it used to be actively used. But then, they stopped using it. The stone structure is still there. But it's overgrown. Like a lot of the cool, places to explore, it's really overgrown. I can't really say. I mean, that I felt, a lot of energy there. Some of the times that I randomly snapped pictures, I felt like a little something, or else, why would I take a picture? But I mean, this picture that's up now, I kind of just, blew it off as a bug. I mean, except for it's big.
It's big. It's well, there's parts. I mean, you honestly, just the way that you see these different. Well, I don't even know what you want to call them. I almost said squared off tiers, but there's like some sections of it. It almost looks like. Yeah, I hate saying it, but it kind of almost reminds me of the way it seems to like be breaking apart. Almost reminds me of the Columbia footage, but it's swooping around like that. Your friend Donna Bucksbaum, who's a photographer, said that this one, to her, is something. And so,
Right.
given that she's a professional photographer, and she remarked about the sources of light, in that the particular light sources that we had at the time couldn't produce this. To me, that was significant, having a professional photographer make those types of remarks.
Yeah, I haven't. The other one, I still thought it was a bug, too. I mean, I think everything is a bug.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the other one looked more like a bug. Let me bring that one up real quick too. So, oh shoot, let me just. I'll replace this one with it. Yeah, this other one is probably a bug. I don't know. Or it's one of the leaves really close. I don't know. It's interesting. It's nothing that we saw while we were there for sure. But it's really close to you.
Yeah.
And that one, you can tell that you are using a flash for that.
Right.
Where this other one was quite different. And I'll go back to that one.
I don't think it was as dark yet. I wasn't using.
No, it wasn't as dark yet, so you weren't using a flash. If you were using a flash, I would be a lot more lit up.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some pictures I would take a picture with flash, and then I would take one without it.
Yeah.
But it was light enough. I hadn't started using flash yet.
Right. So, yeah, it's interesting. This thing's coming in an arc, and the other thing that I like throwing out there about this photograph is this is about 3 miles down the road, and I'll say 3 miles because it's 2.8 from the landing to the Goldenrod, and you still have to go through the town to get to the locks, because the locks are on the other side of town. So it's about 3 miles from the Goldenrod down the river, on the same side of the river. And at the Goldenrod, it would have been 4 or 5 months after this picture was taken. That's when we experienced the translucent yellow ball of light dancing all over the showroom. And for a period of time before the ladies saw it, I saw this bar of light slightly V-shaped on the floor. Couldn't find a source of light for it, and then it started wavering, and then it was gone, and then we saw that ball of light for like the next 4 minutes all over the showroom. So possibly light sprites. Maybe. We don't know, and that's why we've always, we've been putting out there ever since, hey, if you have any like stories similar to this, or quote unquote fairy stories, if these are supposed to be fairies, we don't know. We'd love to hear them. Looking up any of the books or websites on fairies or what have you, it's just all fairy folklore, and which doesn't get us anywhere. So we've thrown that out there for a while. I've kind of missed what you guys have been saying about this. Okay, where was this? This was the Campseville Locks, Campseville, Illinois. They were basically almost right along the river. So the locks used to be part of the river. It's because the water has receded from there because they got rid of the little dam and all that stuff. It's no longer in use. Hasn't been in use since 1936, 1938, something like that. Right? Yeah. Basically, it was the same year that this grade school that Shana went to, that we were showing the photos of the woman down the stairs and the shadow person. It was the same year that school opened, that the locks shut down. And so yeah, that's where it was. Mike's halo, very cute. All right. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed all of these photographs tonight. I do want to thank you guys for all the fantastic feedback, both on YouTube and down there in Periscope. Had a lot of great Periscope interaction tonight. So, Sherry Willimon is saying, orbs come in different shapes, but it has its own light source, and both pixel definitely an orb, is what she's saying. I'm still skeptical of the second because Shana was using a flash, so it could be reflecting back the light. But that first one, Shana was not using a flash at all. So I definitely say it was something on that first one. All right, everybody. So, again, thank you very much. We'll get to shout-outs here in a minute. If you're new here, please, by all means, subscribe to the channel. Click the little bell notification to get all of our updates. We have, usually on Fridays, we have Friday Night Ghost Frights coming out. This particular Friday, we do not, because I'm going to be giving you a live investigation from a currently undisclosed place. If you're one of our Patreon patrons, you already know. I let them know. And, of course, Shana knows. So, live investigation coming to you probably about 8 o'clock on Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. And so, Shana, anything else that we need to say before we wrap it up?
I don't know. I mean, we have some cool stuff coming up. Events around the corner.
Right. So, Haunted Road Media Paracon, June 9th. We have it both posted on the Haunted Road Media Facebook page. We have an event set up in there, and also you can get all the same information out on hauntedroadmedia.com. We have it posted out there as well. So, I think that will about do it. So, in the question down there in Periscope, I missed it, but I saw it real quick. The YouTube channel is Haunted Road Media. So, I forget that because there's that difference between Periscope and YouTube. The YouTube channel is Haunted Road Media. If you want to come out here and subscribe to us, that'd be fantastic. So we're 3 to 4 videos per week, 2 live streams every Tuesday. So we do a lot out here. Okay, so let's start with the Super Chat Superstars. That would be Andrew Cox, Tom McNicholas, Jen, Mark Fiore, and BD Flint. So some of these are also our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. And actually, Jen is not a Deep Down the Rabbit Hole, but she is still a Patreon patron. Spelling of Haunted Road Media. Haunted, so Hauunted, Road is Road, and Media is Media. So, yeah, Haunted Road, as in road that you drive down. So, I hope you got that. All right, so thank you, Super Chat Superstars. I'm starting to get a little tongue-tied here because it's this 2 shows in a night. So All right, let's get to the shout outs. So Lizard Queen down there in Periscope, thank you very much, and glad you got the channel. Awesome. I think everybody else in Periscope is kind of bugged out, which is fun. Tom McNicholas, I think, is probably still down there. So, all right, Donald Gordon, thank you for shenanigating the chat here for Inside the Upside Down and for also doing the previous Edge of the Rabbit Hole show. Shay Carroll, thank you very much. Have a great night. Daniel Heil, Patreon patron. So that's a so Patreon is another. It's a way for people to support Haunted Road Media, to support the channel in another way, and we give like different perks to those that are supporting us there. So you can check it out. It's patreon.com, patreon.com/Haunted Road Media. And so, yeah, it's like different tiers and levels. You get a ghosty T-shirt, some other stuff. There's behind the scenes videos, and there's a Q&A that we do monthly. We have when you and I get back together, we need to do the group chat for the Deep Down the Rabbit Hole patrons. So yeah. All right, so shout-outs. Kathy Ciliento, Shay Carroll, got Donna already. Jen K, thank you very much. PSI Files, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Ether Shadow, thank you for being in there. Both shows. Katie Palmer, you as well. Diane Aumet, I hope I say that right. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Zippy Davis, thank you. And once again, happy birthday to your boy. Jen K, Tom McNicholas, Andrew Cox, thank you again. Chipper Terry. Greg Rinkin, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Sherry Willimon, thanks for hanging out in both places. Mark Fiore, again, thank you. Lady Death, thank you for subscribing to us tonight. Kenny Orton, thank you once again. Jody Brewer, thank you. Texas Life with Julie Hughes. All right. Thank you very much, Julie. And who else do we have? Paige Lee, thanks for joining us tonight. Paige Surfer Rosa, thank you for joining us as well. We've got Chipper Terry and Sherry Wilmon. Jen B, thanks again. Is that the same Jen B as from Spreaker? I think so. And a lot of people already took off because it is late. It's already past midnight here in the east. Snowing in some places. Samuel Hall, there you are. All right. Let me scroll all the way back down. So, Liz Miller. Yeah, she says, thank you, found you. Awesome. Very cool. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for this evening. Shauna, thanks for hanging out and telling us the stories behind your pictures. And I hope you guys really enjoyed our spirit photography for the evening. It always generates a lot of discussion because, you know, a lot of them can be controversial. So, but we try to pick them apart and see what we can figure out with each of them. Pungi Fungi, there you are at the very end, saying that you're watching on your phone. All right, cool. And Tim Schoen is still there as well. Thank you, guys. Have a great night. And we will see you on Friday. Until next time.
Bye.